My name is Eric. I'm a keynote speaker on leadership and adaptability. I get paid to deliver insights to leaders and teams to help them navigate change. But the value isn't just in the polished presentation, it is in the raw thinking that happens in the lead up to those presentations. And so in this vlog, you are going to get the field notes on my workflows and how they've been changing with AI, on reinvention and recalibration, why that's really important, and also the idea of learning asymmetry in teams. So come along. So we've just hit mid-November, and what that really means is that most of the bookings that are coming in on this side of the year is for next year. So the weeks are slowing down a bit, but having said that, I'm actually finding that there are more people this time around that are just pushing. It's like they're not really slowing down for the year. It's almost like 2025 is just bleeding into 2026 for so many people. I guess there could be many reasons for it. One being that if you've had a very bad year, then you are almost not in a position to slow down. And many people that I've spoken to this year have not had the best year. So that might be one of the reasons why we are seeing this happening. So there are two apps that have really improved my workflow over the past few weeks. One is an app called Whisperflow. It's a dictation app, so you hit two buttons on your keyboard and you speak into your mic, and then it just dictates it onto the screen for you. And where I found it specifically to be very useful is interacting with AI, because you want to give it a lot of information and a lot of context in one go, and typing that out can be quite cumbersome. I don't use it for writing with my keynotes or for social posts, because I find that I still want to think through things, and writing for me is thinking. I don't think as quickly when I'm speaking, so I don't use it for creative writing. But I do use it a lot for dictating to AI. And that's the second thing that's been hugely helpful for me in the past few weeks, is I've started using Claude as a coach, but not an out-of-the-box coach. I've done a ton of customization to get it to where it is. But essentially, it's a process of checking in with it every morning and then checking out every afternoon, going through certain accountability structures. And it's just been really, really useful for helping me to focus on the most high leverage activities inside of my business. But also, and this is a bit of an unintended consequence, is that I often find that for leaders, one of the biggest challenges is that you don't want to just speak to the people around you about what's going on internally. One part of it is that you don't always want to just gush about your inner world, but the second is that you also don't want to be cumbersome to other people. You don't want to burden them with all of your thinking all of the time. And I find that my wife is the one who's always on the receiving end of my thinking, is that I sit here and I come up with a new idea, or I want to speak to about a client, and I run down, and she's the one who has to listen to everything while she also has her own things to do. And so a great unintended consequence has been that I've actually been speaking to her a lot less about business related stuff. And I'm speaking a lot more to Claude about it. So by the time I get to her, I've kind of vented or kind of thought it through, so she gets the best of the best instead of getting everything all at once. Talk about transformation all the time, and it's often portrayed as this very lofty, beautiful thing that you go through, but transformation mostly sucks, to be honest, because it's pretty painful. There's always something that has to die for the new to emerge, and when you go through that process, it's always extremely trying. But then I found this thing that I wanted to read to you. So it says, that's what real transformation feels like: uncomfortable, raw, necessary. The skin you've outgrown starts to suffocate you, and yet you hesitate to release it because it's familiar. We cling to old versions of ourselves, careers, relationships, personas, because even rotting skin can feel safer than no skin at all. In teams, we often have what I call learning asymmetry, meaning that some people are very motivated to learn, they are constantly upskilling themselves, and others don't. And so you have this imbalance that starts occurring in a team, and what you really want is people to be on the same page, have the same ideas about how to show up in a team. And the more we are aligned on what those mental models are, the more accountable we can hold each other to it. So today is all about prepping for Leadership Lab, my signature workshop that I host for leaders and teams. And the fortunate thing about the work that I get to do is that I have a lot of white space built into my calendar, very specifically to help me create this space where I can slow down, think, research, iterate, and improve my content so that I'm always delivering the best insights to my clients. So Leadership Lab has a very simple premise that if we want to help other people go through change and change our teams and organizations, then as leaders, we need to become good at changing first. So really the entire workshop is about transforming and transformation. But one of the key insights that I'm going to share tomorrow, for example, is this. It says here that the expectations for leaders to have all the answers is at an all-time low, whereas the expectations for leaders to create an environment in which answers can be found is at an all-time high. Simply what that means is that there used to be a time we could turn to leaders to have all the answers because the world we operated in wasn't all that complex. But with the way the world is moving now, both in terms of complexity and speed, it's impossible for one person to have all the answers. I mean, even if you just look at AI, it's moving way too quickly for one person to be updated with everything that's happening all the time. You need to bring the best people together and extract the best from them as individuals and as a unit. So it used to be that as a leader, you might say, well, let me find the best people, point them in a direction and just let them go. Well, that's changing. Now it is get the best people, point them in a direction, but also create the right environment in which they can shine, in which you can tease out their best insights and thinking. So I'll share some insights from Leadership Lab as well tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. See you soon. So recalibration to me is this continuous act of making sure that we are aligned to where we want to go and who we want to be. And a few years ago, I came across this really cool model called the 1 in 60 degree model that says when a plane takes off, it's always heading in a very specific direction. But if that plane had to veer off course by just 1 degree, then by the time it's traveled 60 miles, is going to be an entire 1 mile away from its intended destination. So this is a very easy port, right, for us into our own lives. It says that we all have a certain destination that we are trying to get to, but very often we get pushed off course. And sometimes that push is very small. It's almost imperceptible, this deviation. But if we don't course correct, then over time, we end up very far away from where we want it to be. I tell you this because you and I also run the risk of ending up on the death by GPS list. And the way that we end up on this list is if we try to navigate today and tomorrow's world using yesterday's maps. All right, so that went pretty well. That's a wrap for Leadership Lab, and that's a wrap for this vlog.